Right, hello, I'm Tim Sandle and I'm BPL's site microbiologist, and I'm pleased to be with you again for another learning video, and this is the 5th video in the series. And as with the other videos, this video will last no more than 5 minutes. It will only look at one subject and it makes no more than 3 points. And today's subject is working in unidirectional airflow, or grade A. But before we jump into that, let's just pause and think about particles. So particles in clean rooms come from one of two sources. They either come from equipment and machinery, or they come from people. And the biggest source of microorganisms in clean rooms is people. But it's very rare to find microorganisms free floating. Invariably, they're attached to particles. So controlling particles is the key to both types of contamination control concerns. The particles that might arise from equipment or from wipes and things like that, or the particles that we are generating. Now, we're trying to avoid people working in unidirectional airflows or grade A conditions, but it remains a necessity with our current technology. So we're very reliant upon the effectiveness of unidirectional airflow and what we do within unidirectional airflow. And the idea behind unidirectional airflow is that it produces what's known within the cleanroom sector as safety ventilation. So what do we know about unidirectional airflow, and what can we learn from unidirectional airflow in terms of getting a better understanding about how we might do interventions and also make grade A connections? So this comes on to the 3 points that I'd like to make. So the first point is that unidirectional airflow needs to be fast. And it needs to be fast if it's going to stand any chance of pushing particles away from the point of concern. So when air slows, it's of greater risk. And although we assess airflow velocity within the range of 0.36 to 0.54 meters per second, we ideally want the air to be veering towards the upper end. The second point is that we disrupt the air whatever we do. Even standing still within unidirectional airflow, we will still be producing personal vortices. That's like the way the air spins and turns off our bodies. Now, these are relatively stable and they pose a lower risk of dispersion. As these vortexes kind of twist, they tend to follow the air path. So they're following that unidirectional train. Or to paraphrase Richard Gray, they're going the one best way. However, when we move, we produce unstable wakes. And this then challenges the safety ventilation in place, especially when we're moving our hands or our arms. And these vortexes become unstable and they can change the direction of the air. And how big a challenge this presents is kind of based upon the degree of movement, the speed of movement, and the number of times we might repeat a movement. And scientists have shown this risk using a technique called hot film anemometry. So it means that no matter how many times you perform an intervention, there's no such thing as a safe intervention. Every intervention carries a risk, and we can de-risk this to an extent by running airflow visualization patterns and practicing interventions in media fields and looking at the particle profiles. But what this does mean is that we cannot undertake interventions that we have not done before, and we cannot undertake interventions that we have not practiced in media fields, or carry out interventions more times than we would during a media field. Okay, my third point is that air is not at the same velocity at every point within a unidirectional airflow. Air becomes slower as it moves down and gets slower to floor level. So as people who work in clean rooms, the air velocity is greater over your head and your shoulders and down to about waist level. And it becomes really slow when it gets to around where your knees are and below. This is around about 0.5 to 0.7 meters up from the floor. And at this level, it's not really unidirectional at all. And this has been shown recently by some live simulations by scientists working in Sweden. So this means that no connection or other operation like working with stoppers, unloading freeze dryers and so on should be done at a level that's below the waist. So ideally all operations are being done from the waist to about here. You're doing your connections or you're unloading or whatever you're doing. Okay, that's it. Thank you for listening. I have actually veered over 5 minutes, but these are really important points to make. So, thanks for your paying attention, and as always, good luck with the rest of your shift. Have a productive time and keep up the good work. And until next time, I'll be back with you with another video. Goodbye.